They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
The times where people ignore the red flags and say, let's just keep pushing, those are the times where you fail. The majority of things that we're buying are created by men. You always learn more from your failures than you do your success.
Blake Lively is facing one of the biggest controversies of her career. Many now believe she hid a controlling and manipulative side, growing too comfortable with power and never expecting such a strong backlash. Critics argue she tried to reshape the narrative, but her efforts have backfired. As a result, fans, bloggers, and industry insiders are distancing themselves. Her social media following is shrinking, and those who once admired her now call her the most hated woman in Hollywood, blaming her for her own downfall. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni, the man she allegedly tried to undermine, is receiving more support than ever. Many see him as the real victim, encouraging him to continue speaking out about what truly happened. Before this controversy, Blake was admired for her warmth and charm. Fans loved her style and saw her as a devoted wife and actress. Social media posts often praised her fashion choices and personal life. But everything changed when rumors surfaced about her controlling behavior on the set of It Ends With Us. Insiders claim she acted like she owned the entire production. As both an actress and executive producer, she reportedly demanded script changes and overruled the director. Those on set felt powerless to challenge her, fearing that crossing her could mean the end of their careers.
Person who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively, it's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan started the fire!
Allegedly. Don't gag order or sue me, Ryan Reynolds, okay? I don't want to be involved in your drama. I'm just telling my audience what I was told. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument.
This created an atmosphere of fear on set. Some sources came forward, describing what they called arrogant and bullying tactics, claiming Blake used her fame to silence others. The situation escalated when The Hollywood Reporter ran a cover story on February 22nd, featuring an image of Blake using a slingshot aimed at Baldoni. Readers saw this as a symbol of how she targeted him behind the scenes. Many believed she was determined to control the film's direction, and when he resisted, she made him out to be the problem. The cover story fueled public outrage. More people voiced their anger, and Blake's attempt to dismiss the cover as sexist only made things worse. Social media users mocked her response, seeing it as an excuse to dodge accountability. Instead of sympathy, her reaction was met with skepticism, with many feeling she was desperately trying to change the narrative. At one point, Blake accused Justin of inappropriate behavior, but when he presented proof, including text messages, her claims started to crumble. Critics pointed out the inconsistencies in her story. Legal experts and commentators even compared her tactics to Amber Heard's, suggesting she tried to use the Nuller Me Too movement for personal gain. As fans pieced things together, many felt betrayed. The woman they once admired now seemed like a manipulator, someone who only acted kind in public to maintain her image while pulling strings behind the scenes. The backlash intensified when reports surfaced that Blake and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, allegedly worked behind the scenes to limit Justin's ability to promote his own movie. Insiders claimed they blocked him from attending key marketing and press events, effectively making him invisible despite his major role in the production.
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story because she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone-deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze while talking about domestic violence. Justin says the war between himself and Blake really started in May 2023 when they started shooting the movie. He claims that she was organizing a takeover strategy.
People saw this as a clear sign that something was wrong behind the scenes. Justin remained silent at first, but when he finally spoke up, he presented strong evidence that completely weakened Blake's claims. The impact was immediate. Many fans switched sides, rallying behind him. His calm and composed approach made Blake's actions seem even worse in comparison. People were outraged that he had been pushed aside from something he had helped create. Ryan Reynolds also got pulled into the scandal. He tried to defend Blake by making light of the situation during Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary special, but the joke backfired. Many viewers who saw the controversy as a serious issue felt his humor was tone-deaf. Some fans even turned against Ryan, suspecting he either knew about Blake's actions or simply didn't care enough to acknowledge the problem. Rumors started swirling that Hollywood insiders were keeping their distance from the couple, not wanting to get caught up in the drama. Hollywood has never been kind to actors who bring chaos, and many now see Blake as a major risk. Studios don't want to invest in someone who might take over a project and turn it into a PR nightmare. Sources claim that certain directors have also made it clear they don't want to work with her, fearing potential conflicts on set. Even those who once supported Blake are going quiet, worried about protecting their own careers. Some of her closest industry friends have started distancing themselves. Meanwhile, fans have noticed her declining social media presence, with reports suggesting she's lost hundreds of thousands of followers, while Justin's following continues to grow. This shift in public opinion is undeniable. Critics argue that Blake tried to present herself as a champion of women's rights, but in reality, she was using the movement for personal gain. The fact that she accused Justin without providing solid proof made her seem untrustworthy. Now, social media users are speaking out, saying they're tired of being misled.
He told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it. I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully. That Justin Baldoni, ultimately, by the time they got to the premiere, was mandated by Blake Lively to spend the night in the basement away from his co-stars and didn't even get to see the final cut of his own movie because Blake Lively insisted that she be the one to approve it.
People today know how to dig into the truth. And as more facts surfaced, the public turned against Blake. The Hollywood Reporter's cover story changed the way readers saw her. Not as a victim, but as someone actively targeting Justin. Many believe she tried to take control of the film and ruin his reputation in the process. When she criticized the cover art as sexist, viewers saw it as a weak attempt to dodge real questions. Instead of helping her case, it made things worse. It looked like she was using serious issues to cover up her own actions, and her reputation took an even bigger hit. Reports on the legal side of the feud are also raising concerns for Blake. Some sources claim she tried to edit or hide text messages that didn't support her claims. However, Justin's team kept the original records. When lawyers pointed out how her story kept shifting, many felt she was fabricating details to gain public sympathy. The situation is now drawing comparisons to the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case. Just like Amber lost public support when hidden facts came to light, people now see Blake in the same way. Online, she's being labeled the new Amber Heard, accused of manipulating the narrative for her own benefit. Other celebrities are steering clear of the controversy. Some may have initially considered backing Blake, but after learning more, they quickly distanced themselves. Meanwhile, gossip channels on YouTube and other platforms have broken down every piece of evidence, portraying Blake as controlling, entitled, and even ruthless. Though the words are harsh, they reflect the deep frustration felt by many. To them, Blake is someone who used her fame to get her way, and when things didn't go as planned, she played the victim to win sympathy.
I defend Justin Baldoni in this lawsuit with Blake Lively because I think she's horrible and she's made up this whole thing because she tried to steal his movie. But he is the most overly feminized man I've had to endure in recent history. Everything he says is self-flagellating over the fact that he's a man, but he's, to me, is sort of the embodiment of what happens when you totally emasculate a man. And then she continued, she took that stiletto and stuck it in his heart when he was down there self-flagellating, being so sorry for anything having to do with his testosterone.
Meanwhile, Justin is handling the situation in a completely different way. As a follower of the Baha'i faith, which emphasizes kindness and unity, he has chosen a calm and composed approach. Some believe Blake misunderstood his cultural background and way of interacting with people. Instead of attacking her in the media, he remained silent and let his lawyer handle the accusations. This level-headed response has won him even more supporters. Many see it as a sign of maturity and fairness. In fact, some argue that his refusal to engage in public name-calling only highlights Blake's aggressive tactics, making it clear that she is the one throwing accusations left and right. Ryan Reynolds, on the other hand, keeps trying to protect the couple's public image, but his lighthearted jokes are backfiring. Many believe the situation is too serious for humor, and by making jokes about it, he's only damaging his own reputation. Industry insiders say that if this controversy continues to grow, major brands and movie studios might start distancing themselves from him, fearing any association with Blake's scandal. Rumors are already swirling that the couple might be avoided at major Hollywood events. Influential figures in the industry reportedly don't want to be seen with them, worried that the backlash could overshadow everything else, including projects completely unrelated to the scandal. Blake Lively is now facing one of the biggest backlashes of her career. Many believe she was hiding a manipulative and controlling side, and they say she never expected the public to turn against her so harshly. Critics argue that she tried to twist the facts, but her efforts have failed. As a result, she is rapidly losing support from fans, bloggers, and industry insiders. Her social media following is shrinking, and those who once admired her now call her the most hated woman in Hollywood, blaming her entirely for her own downfall.
Was what Blake says, a conversation that she heard had taken place with Steve Sarowitz. Steve Sarowitz is the head of Wayfair Studios. He is the co-founder of Wayfair Studios, along with Justin. And she says in this lawsuit that, is it interesting? She says, this is what I heard, he said, but it's presented as a quote in the lawsuit. She says that Steve said, I will protect the studio like Israel protected itself from Hamas.
At the same time, Justin Baldoni, the man Blake allegedly tried to undermine, is gaining more support than ever. Many now see him as the real victim and are encouraging him to continue speaking the truth about what happened. Before this controversy erupted, Blake had a completely different image. She was seen as warm and friendly, admired for her fashion sense and personal life. Fans loved her as a devoted wife and actress, and her social media presence was filled with admiration. However, everything changed when rumors surfaced that she had been overly controlling on the set of It Ends With Us. Insiders claimed that Blake acted like she owned the entire production. While she was both an actress and an executive producer, reports suggested she overstepped her role, demanding script changes and overriding the director's decisions. Those working on the film reportedly felt powerless to challenge her, fearing that upsetting her could cost them their careers. This reportedly created a tense and fearful atmosphere on set. Sources came forward, describing her behavior as arrogant and bullying, claiming she used her fame to silence others. But the situation escalated even further when The Hollywood Reporter ran a controversial cover story on February 22nd. The cover featured Blake using a slingshot aimed directly at Justin Baldoni, a striking image that many interpreted as a symbol of her actions behind the scenes. Readers immediately took this as proof that she had been targeting him, trying to dominate the film's direction, and making him look like the problem when he resisted. The backlash intensified, with more people speaking out against Blake. She tried to dismiss the cover as unfair and misleading, but the public wasn't buying it. Social media erupted with criticism, with many seeing her response as a desperate attempt to dodge responsibility. At this point, even those who once defended her started to question whether she was truly a victim, or if she had simply been caught trying to manipulate the situation.
Dear Judge Lyman, as counsel for Wayfair Studios LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, Steve Sarowitz, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, Melissa Nathan, the Agency Group PR LLC, and Jennifer Abel, collectively the Wayfarer parties, we write to advise the court of an issue that the Wayfarer parties wish to address at the upcoming conference on Monday, February 3rd, 2025.
Blake's attempts to shift the blame onto the media aren't doing her any favors. Every time she claims she's being misunderstood, new facts emerge that make her look even worse. Many have pointed out the contradiction in her statements, She claimed to be afraid of Justin, yet insisted on controlling every aspect of the movie. These mixed signals have only deepened public skepticism. Instead of winning people over, she appears to be weaving more stories to protect herself, which has led even more observers to side with Justin. One of the strongest signs that Blake is in serious trouble is the silence of Taylor Swift, one of her closest and most well-known friends. Taylor is known for standing up for those she cares about, often posting heartfelt public messages in their defense. But in this case, she has said nothing. Fans can't help but wonder, why isn't Taylor speaking up for Blake? The fact that she's remained completely silent suggests that even she doesn't want to get involved in this controversy. Some believe Taylor is deliberately keeping her distance to avoid damaging her own reputation. Now, the big question is, can Blake Lively recover from what many are calling one of the worst scandals to hit a modern actress? Some believe that if she takes responsibility for her actions, apologizes, and stops trying to twist the facts, she might have a slim chance at redemption. But so far, she hasn't shown much remorse. Instead, she continues to double down on her claims, insisting that the media is behind the backlash and that Justin is.
He and 9 other plaintiffs, including his publicists, have brought a $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times, essentially alleging them of libel and false light invasion of privacy. So Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, he told BBC's partner CBS that the newspaper aided and abetted a smear campaign designed to revitalise Lively's floundering.
Blake's strategy of doubling down on her claims seems to be backfiring. More and more people are labeling her as dishonest and manipulative. This scandal has also sparked a broader conversation about how serious movements, like the Me Too, should be handled. Fans strongly dislike when someone appears to exploit an important cause for personal gain, as they believe it weakens real victims' chances of being heard and believed. Many are outraged, suspecting that Blake used the movement as a tool, rather than genuinely advocating for those who have suffered. As a result, public trust in her has eroded, and people fear that her actions have made it harder for real stories of abuse to be taken seriously. Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni's career seems to be on an upward trajectory. Many believe he was nearly pushed out of his own film's promotion, but he maintained his composure, calmly presenting his side of the story. His professionalism has earned him admiration from both fans and industry insiders. Some predict that he could become even more successful, as he is now viewed as someone with integrity who refuses to engage in petty feuds. Directors and major studios may be more inclined to work with him, seeing him as reliable, steady, and drama-free. Blake's future, on the other hand, looks far less certain. Studios and producers are hesitant to invest in someone who might insist on rewriting scripts or create major PR nightmares. Insiders say that the high-profile offers she once received have slowed significantly, with some deals possibly being put on hold or dropped entirely. Her fans are struggling to reconcile the warm, approachable public figure they once admired with the person now being revealed through these accusations. Many feel disappointed, some even betrayed. The biggest question people are asking is, why couldn't she just focus on doing her job as an actress and executive producer? Why did she feel the need to take over the entire production? As the backlash continues, it remains to be seen whether Blake Lively can recover her reputation, or if this scandal will mark a permanent downfall in her career.
Asking for the gag order and explaining how he's talking too much. He's threatening to post stuff on public sites. So what I think is, this looks good for Baldoni, right? He's like, we want to make it all public. And sometimes lawyers can do this knowing that they can't actually do what they say they're going to do.
Blake Lively once had everything: fame, a thriving career, a famous partner, and a strong fan base. But this scandal may have shattered the charmed life she once led. In Hollywood, respect is hard to regain once it's lost, and as new damaging information continues to emerge, her reputation seems to be sinking further. Her downfall has been particularly shocking, considering she was once praised as a fashion icon and one of Hollywood's most likable figures. Now, those old compliments feel empty in light of allegations of controlling behavior and possible dishonesty. Even Ryan Reynolds, once seen as a universally beloved and witty actor, is starting to feel the impact. By standing by Blake and treating the situation with humor, he risks being viewed as someone who doesn't take serious issues seriously. Some fans are now questioning whether his cool guy persona is authentic or just an act. There are even talks of boycotts against his projects if he continues to downplay the scandal, something that could put his own career at risk. For Blake, the path to redemption seems narrow. Many believe the only way forward is for her to take accountability, apologize for what happened on set, admit her mistakes, and stop blaming others when challenged. But so far, her actions suggest she's unwilling to do that. Instead, she keeps shifting the narrative, pointing fingers at Justin, the media, and even the audience for supposedly misunderstanding her. Rather than winning people back, this approach seems to be alienating even more fans, reinforcing the belief that she is not being honest or willing to take responsibility for her actions. Unless she makes a drastic change in how she handles this crisis, her career may never recover.
That she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine, I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone.
Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni has seen his reputation soar. Once nearly erased from his own film, he has now become a symbol of resilience, someone who stood his ground against a powerful Hollywood figure. Fans appreciate that he hasn't responded with cruelty or bitterness, but instead, let the facts speak for themselves. By presenting his side calmly and professionally, he allowed the public to decide, and they overwhelmingly took his side. Many who previously had no interest in him now follow his social media and eagerly anticipate his next projects, eager to support someone they believe was unfairly targeted. This entire situation has exposed the darker side of fame. Blake Lively was once considered one of Hollywood's golden stars, celebrated for her talent, charm, and seemingly perfect marriage. But in a short time, her reputation crumbled. The film she tried to control became the turning point that set her downfall in motion. If she had stayed within her role, rather than attempting to dominate the production, perhaps she would still be admired. Instead, she now risks being blacklisted from major projects, as studios may not want the controversy that follows her. Whether she will disappear from Hollywood or stage a comeback remains uncertain. Much depends on what she does next. Will she continue to portray herself as the victim, or will she finally take responsibility? The public is watching closely, and more developments could emerge at any time. For now, it appears that Blake Lively is standing at a crossroads. Her future in Hollywood is in jeopardy, and while she may attempt a rebrand later, one thing seems clear. Without a sincere apology and a drastic change in approach, fans may not be willing to listen.
Justin Baldoni's attorneys got back regarding that filing, and they basically called them out, as they always do. And I'm going to show you what they said. They said, given how actively the Lively parties have publicized and litigated Ms. Lively's claims in the media, we are surprised to now learn how vehemently she wants to prevent the public from accessing material and relevant evidence.
As a result of all this, many believe the truth about Blake Lively's behavior has finally come to light. She is now seen as someone who wanted complete control and silenced anyone who challenged her, while Justin Baldoni is viewed as a calm professional who was unfairly pushed aside and forced to defend himself. This perception is reflected in the numbers. Blake's social media accounts continue to lose followers at a rapid pace, while Justin's popularity is on the rise. The scandal remains a hot topic across social media, sparking debates about power, integrity, and the dark realities of Hollywood. But for many, the damage to Blake's career is already done. The only question that remains is whether she can make meaningful changes and regain even a fraction of the public's trust. For now, the power shift is undeniable. Blake Lively, once a beloved Hollywood icon, now finds herself on the losing end, facing an uncertain future in an industry that rarely forgives.